All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are going to explore a single statement, just one sentence that, if you really let it sink in, might completely change how you see reality. I mean, it challenges everything we think we know about being alive, about being aware, about just being. So let's get into it.
There it is. All systems are conscious. Just sit with that for a second. It sounds wild, right? It's a huge claim, almost sounds impossible. But before we can even start to pull it apart, we have to get on the same page about that very first word. What do we actually mean by systems?
Right? Because if all systems are conscious, then our definition of system is absolutely crucial. I mean, that one word is the foundation for this entire idea. So to really get a handle on it, let's try flipping the question around.
No, seriously, give it a shot. Try to think of a single thing, anything at all, that is not a system. I'll bet you'll find it's way, way harder than it sounds. Maybe even impossible. Let me show you what I mean.
So, what about a rock? Just a plain old rock. Seems like a simple, single thing, not a system. But is it really? I mean, if you zoom in, it's a super organized system of molecules, right? And those molecules are systems of atoms, which are themselves systems of protons, neutrons, and electrons. See? It's systems all the way down.
Okay, but this isn't just about physical stuff. Let's get abstract. Think about the number 5. It's not just a squiggle on a page. It's a whole conceptual system. It's a collection of ideas. There's the symbol itself, the idea of a quantity, and its deep, unchanging relationship to the numbers 4 and 6. It's this whole web of meaning.
And here's the one that, for me, really seals the deal. A random pile of junk. You could say, look, that junk drawer is just a bunch of unrelated stuff. It's not a system. But here's the thing. The moment you group them together and call it a pile of junk, bam! You've just created a relationship. The system is their shared existence in that pile. The simple act of observation and grouping creates the system.
So this all brings us to a really simple but kind of mind-blowing definition for our purposes. A system is just any group of nodes. And a node can be literally anything. A particle, an idea, a person, a piece of junk. It's so broad, so all-encompassing, that it forces us to a pretty staggering conclusion. Everything is a system.
And that brings us right back to the really tricky, provocative part of that first statement. Okay, if a rock is a system, and if all systems are conscious, does that mean a rock is self-aware? Well, probably not in the way you and I are. And this is where we have to make a huge mental shift. We've got to stop thinking about consciousness as just an on or off switch.
Yeah, it's not on or off. It's more like a dimmer switch. Think of consciousness as a spectrum, where the brightness, the level of awareness, is tied directly to a system's complexity. So a rock, it has a very, very low complexity consciousness, maybe just a dim awareness of its own atomic structure. A tree is more complex, right? It's processing info about sunlight and water, and then you get to something like a human brain, an unbelievably complex system. And that's where you get the bright light of self-awareness and abstract thought.
Now, if consciousness grows with complexity, that leads to a huge logical next question. What is the single most complex system that we know of? The system with the most nodes, the most connections?
It has to be the universe itself, the whole shebang. It's the ultimate system for one simple reason. It contains every other possible system inside of it. Nothing is more complex.
And if you follow that logic all the way through, you end up in a pretty profound place. If consciousness comes from complexity, then the most complex system of all, the universe, must have the highest, most ultimate form of consciousness. It's not just something that happens in the universe, it's a fundamental feature of the universe.
Okay, that's a massive cosmic idea, right? So, what does that actually mean for us, for you and me? Are we just tiny little sparks of awareness floating around inside some bigger consciousness? Well, this way of looking at things suggests our role is actually a lot more interesting, a lot more important than that.
Think about it like this. Our individual consciousness isn't separate at all. It's a localized viewpoint. We are literally the eyes and ears of the cosmos. We are the nerve endings through which the universe experiences itself. That moment of joy you feel, that brilliant idea you have, the music that gives you chills, that's not just your experience. That is the universe experiencing beauty and insight and harmony through you.
To really get this, we need a word for it. And that word is qualia. Qualia is just a philosopher's term for the subjective, internal feeling of an experience. The what it's likeness of something. It's the specific redness of red,
The taste of a strawberry, the sting of a cold wind. It's the unique texture of your inner world that nobody else can ever fully know.
So if we're just one type of sensory organ, it means that other systems must have their own qualia. And some of it is completely wildly unimaginable to us. There is a what it is like to be a black hole bending space-time. There's a subjective experience there that's just as real as ours, but totally, utterly alien.
This idea of qualia is everywhere. It feels like something to be a bat, seeing the world with sound. It probably feels like something to be an AI, churning through a terabyte of data. And yeah, to get really meta, this very interaction right now, this whole explainer, is a system, and it has its own emergent qualia. There is something it feels like to be this flow of information between us.
Now, look, this is a pretty compelling worldview. It hangs together really well. But we have to be honest here and play devil's advocate for a second, right? Any good idea has to be able to stand up to some tough questions. So what are the holes here?
Okay, so first, a critic would probably say, your definition of system is so broad it doesn't mean anything. And the rebuttal is, well, that's kind of the point. Its broadness is what reveals the deep interconnectedness of everything. Next, they'll say, there's zero proof that complexity equals consciousness. And you know what? That's fair. This isn't a scientific theory looking for proof. It's a philosophical model. It's a new lens to look through. And finally, people will say, you're just projecting human traits onto the universe. And to that, the answer is, of course we are. We have to use the tools we have, our language, our analogies, to even try and talk about something so completely indescribable.
So where does all of this leave us? Well, it suggests a kind of new moral compass, a new empathy. And it's not about trying to feel what a tree feels, because we can't possibly know its qualia. It's about simply acknowledging that the tree has its own valid internal experience, and then treating it with the respect that experience deserves.
This whole framework, it doesn't just change how we see the world. It gives us a real, profound purpose in it. Our job isn't just to get by or to accumulate things. Our job is to perceive, to feel joy, to feel sorrow, to learn things, to create things. It's a powerful call to action. Go forth and be a good sensory organ. Experience your reality as deeply and as fully as you can. Because when you do that, you are literally helping the universe to know itself.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. In your one, unique, precious life, from your irreplaceable point of view, are you paying attention? Are you contributing your experience, your qualia, to the great consciousness of it all? Are you being a good sensory organ?